We're going to take a look at a stopcock that has had troubles. It's been leaking, it won't close off properly. As you can see, it's fitted fairly flush to the floor. It comes into the premises, tees up to feed a cistern, then goes back down under the floor to feed the rest of the premises. As this is the main stopcock into the building, and we need to change it, or at least service it, or fix it, whatever we need to do with it, we're going to have to freeze it. There's no other way of shutting the water off to the building. To do that, we're going to use this. The Freeze Master Easy Freeze electric pipe freezer. That'll freeze pipes up to 28mm in diameter, so absolutely perfect for the domestic use. And let's get it set up. Right, we're under the floor of the building, and we've got our Freeze Master Easy Freeze, and in here we've got our insulating towels. We'll need those to wrap around the freeze heads. We've got the freeze cream, we'll use that. That'll help us make thermal contact. We've got our freeze heads that go straight onto 28mm, but we've got the reducers in here, and these will take the freeze heads down to 22mm, which is what we need. So we'll get this set up. Now, this is our blue poly coming into the building. That goes up to the 22mm copper that feeds the stopcock above the floor, and then it comes back down through this 22mm copper into this bit of MDPE to feed the rest of the building. So these are the points that we need to isolate. What we want to do here is get a little bit of freeze cream so that the reducer can then sit into there. That's precision engineered, and we'll get a perfect thermal contact. Then we have a little bit more freeze cream to make the contact between the reducer and the pipe. This is the incoming main, and what we're going to do, we'll feed the cords around the back of the pipe. I don't need to screw the reducer into place because the cords will hold that in position, and simply put the freeze head where we want to make our ice plug. Doesn't matter how close we are to any other fittings, the ice plug will grow and it will expand and it will go through the fittings. Simply pull those cords towards you and slot them in. That one's fitted. Now on this one, we'll just remove this little bit of insulation so we can get to the pipe. Bit of freeze cream in here, and then we'll take the reducer, roll that around in there. It rolls around like a bearing. It's precision engineered fittings, these. And then added a bit more freeze cream into the profile so that when we put that onto the next pipe, you see the freeze cream ooze out of the edges, and you know you've got good thermal contact. What we'll do now, we'll take the insulating towels. It says on there, do not make wet. Well, if they're wet, they won't act as insulators. So we simply put a towel around the back of the water pipe, around the freeze head back, and tuck that in, just to add a bit of insulation to the freeze head. It's like keeping your food freezer door closed. We don't want to freeze the rest of the ambient air around. That in, and we're ready to plug in. We'll leave that for a few minutes. It says in the instructions 14 minutes for 222mm. So we'll let that get on with it, and we'll come back to that later. Right, the machine's been running for a few minutes now, and we know the machine is working well because we've got frost all along the hoses up to the freeze head. So that's a great working machine. And then on the freeze heads themselves, let's just remove the insulating towel here. and we can see that's frozen solid. And if you have a look on the water pipe there, you can see where there's ice building up actually on the pipe further than the freeze head. So the ice plug is longer than the freeze head, which means it's frozen solid under the freeze head. So that's a good sign. That means that we're ready to go, and we should have some more on this side. And let's have a look. Everything gets well frozen. And again, on this pipe, we've got the ice building up away from the freeze head. That means it's frozen under the freeze head, and we're ready to get on with the job. Now, the machine's taken the heat of the water out and made the ice plug, so all it's doing now is just taking away any extra heat that's getting onto the freeze head. So we can leave it like this, or we can just cover it back up, just so it's got a little bit less work to do, and it can carry on running like that for hours. Doesn't matter how long this job's going to take, but it should be really quick using this machine, so let's go and get on with it. So we've got the pipes frozen off underneath, and we just now need to disconnect the old stopcocks so that we can get the new one that's fitted. There'll be a little bit of water in the pipe, nothing major to worry about. A little bit of water to soak up. There we go. Let's finish that off. A few spanners and wrenches later, and we've got this new stopcock fitted. It's now time to switch off the Easy Freeze and get this system live again. Back under the floor, and it's time to switch off the Easy Freeze and remove the freeze heads, remove the insulating towels. Very simply pull the cords towards me, very easy. Remove the freeze heads. Very easy, very easy. There we go. Freeze heads are removed. Put a little bit of heat on with our hands. And all we need to do is move the outer skin of the ice plug, and then once it's out of position it will thaw out easily. You can see how far the ice plug has gone up the pipe there. Good long strong ice plug, so it's safe to work. Now what we'll do, we'll leave that to thaw out naturally. That'll take a few minutes. We can carry on clearing up. So there we go, another job complete and made easy with the Freeze Master Easy Freeze.